Hi, this is Dan Eisenberg, back again. In the first couple of videos, we talked about scaling up, the scale-up mindset. That's important for all entrepreneurs, not just those who are growing. And we got some examples of companies that go through scaling events, growth events of various kinds, and we've organized it in terms of what I call the 3C model, which is customers, capacity, and cash. Again, this is a video series, but you can see them in any sequence that you want. It's better if you see them from start to finish. So this is the third. And now we're going to do a series of deep dives into those 3Cs. And in each one of the 3Cs, we're going to do a self-assessment and talk about the implications of that, and then talk about quick wins and how you can get relatively quick growth in each one of customers, capacity, and cash. So with customers, it's what I call, and colleagues of mine call, the 6 building blocks of selling. And here's what they are. And you can see there's sort of an order to this, a sequence to it, but it's not a perfect sequence. So getting ready. One of the mistakes that a lot of people make in the sales process is understanding how important preparation is. And preparation consists of lots of different things. It includes getting information about your customer, preparing to have conversations about your customer's needs, their particular requirements, and some of their constraints, understanding something about the people that are involved. And of course, you have to prepare in terms of understanding what your capacity is to deliver if the customer says yes. Second is presenting. Presenting, as you'll see, is a little bit of a misnomer. This is what the sales jargon is. But good presenting is not just pitching. In fact, it's what I call the anti-pitch. It involves a lot of listening, of asking questions. It's not just about standing up and talking. The third is handling objectives, which also involves a lot of listening and probing, and we'll talk about some of the skills that are required in order to do that. Well, that's not enough. There has to be follow-up. There's a rigor and a system to selling, whether you're selling online or whether you're selling face-to-face or on the phone interactively. You need to have a system, a method for generating and closing the sales, because the sale's not over until you get the order, and the order's not over until you get paid. And by the way, even after you get paid, there's some cases in which you may have to refund the money. So but you'd be surprised, or I'm surprised, I'll put it that way, at how many really good entrepreneurs are not good closers, and they don't quite button it up. They leave that for somebody else, or sometimes just to hope. And all along the way, there's what I call the selling attitude, which has a lot to do with creating value. So we're going to dive into these a little bit more, but first we're going to take another look at the mirror. Remember, I told you that every one of these segments has 2 parts. One part is about assessing yourself, getting some insight into your own desires and capabilities. And here, it's about, are you ready to sell? So, and I'm going to give you these questions, and you'll have a chance to pause the video, of course, and complete it if I'm going too fast. So I know the difference between my product and the benefits it gives to customers. Remember, you put down a 0 if you don't agree with that statement, you think you're not good, you don't know the difference, and you put a 4 if you strongly agree that you know the difference. I listen more than I talk in sales meetings. I welcome objections. I welcome them. Welcome objections, because they're signs that the customer's interested. When customers raise those objections, I ask questions. I try to understand why. I have a system for actually moving from expression of interest and engagement to actually closing the sale. Now, it's interesting. Closing a sale means different things for different companies, for different products. And I know that the sale's not over until we get paid. It's not just somebody else that has to do it. I believe firmly that selling is about creating a win-win for both the customer and for me and my company. I enjoy building relationships with potential customers. Now, you may need more time, don't overthink it, but press pause on the video and then join us later. So just going into each one of these in a little detail, and I'll explain. So the first has to do with the earlier stages of the engagement with the customer. And I'm continually impressed by the fact that even successful marketing people, we'll see an example of this in a few minutes, don't know the difference between features and benefits, and they get confused. And so a lot of what they're presenting are features, what our product does, not how it impacts you, dear customer. So this is an important skill. Again, we're going to come back to this. Listening and probing. Do I really listen when the customer raises objections? Do I have a system for figuring out what's wrong and what I can do to overcome what's wrong and handle their objections? By the way, objections usually cluster. They repeat, they recur, and so you can develop ways of dealing with these objections. Signing and getting paid, and creating value. And I'll have a lot to say about the importance of value creation as part of the selling process. So, before we go into this, let's put your score up there. As maximum is 32, minimum is 0. And again, these are for you, they're not for me. So you have to just be honest with yourself as much as you can. So let's say you got a really low score. That may mean that you're just being really candid with yourself when you look in that mirror. But if you're still intent on being an entrepreneur, or you're already one but have to get better at it, can you get some experience at sales? I recommend to all my students that somewhere early on in their career, they have to have that flavor for going out there and identifying the customer and going through the entire process of sales. You need that experience. It's not something that your salespeople can do unless you really understand what it feels like to sell. One of my students from Harvard Business School, he was from India, and he went to University of Texas, and he ended up in the summer times, every summer in between first and second year, second, third year, and so on, he got a job selling Bibles door to door in a small town in Alabama. The first year he didn't make any money. He was selling on consignment. He didn't make any money the first year, and this was in 110 degree weather, Fahrenheit weather. The second year he broke even. The third year he made money, and the fourth year he made even more money and ended up financing his entire education by selling Bibles in the Deep South. Can you imagine? That's real sales. And by the way, when you hear him talk even today about the product, it's really exciting. So do you respect selling? Is that something that you look up to? Do you respect the people in your company who sell? Do you respect the process? Because we have a very bad attitude, a negative perception of salespeople. Many jokes about the traveling salesmen and people who sell. Do you enjoy the heart interacting with people? Again, these apply even to online sales, because you still have to respect the process of selling. It's not something that you can just put down. Now, if you got a really high score, first question always is, when I look in the mirror, am I being honest with myself? Let's assume you are. You still need to get better. Can you really list the benefits that you offer to your customers? And then, do they see it the same way? It's not enough that you see those as benefits. Does your customer see those benefits as benefits? Maybe saving money for them is the top benefit, the top priority benefit. But it also may be that getting something in time, or getting something in quality, or getting something that makes their life easier, more convenient, less painful, that may be more important than saving money. And then can you systematize those skills? Can you systematize your understanding of the sales process into a process that's replicable and buildable into a sales organization? That goes beyond you as an individual. Let me give you an example of features and benefits. This happens to be from a company. I told you that I'm an investor, a so-called angel investor, although I don't like the term angel investor, because if you haven't noticed, I don't have a halo over my head. I invest as a private investor, first and foremost, because I think it's a worthwhile use of my money. It'll give me a good return. I also enjoy it. but I don't get confused between hobbies and professions. So this is a company that I'm invested in called U&I. U&I has millions of customers around the world, mostly very small business owners like yourselves, and helps them get digital presence very quickly with a lot of artificial intelligence tools. They're growing very rapidly. They're based in the UK, but they're active in probably now 10 different countries and 6 or 7 different languages. And their tagline is, make sure they find you, your customers. I'm going to ask you as I go through a few of the slides from their homepage, their website, sorry, where are the features and where are the benefits? So, not just a website, hosting and maintenance included, connect with your customers, easy to launch, okay? Just jot down a note. Which of these are features and which of these are benefits? And I'm going to ask you in a little quiz. And then the third page is, we start by collecting, this is how does it work? We start by collecting some details. We launch your website in just a few days with the Google listing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not trying to advertise the company. And your customers are everywhere online, so you have to be there as well. So let me ask you this. Features versus benefits. Which are which? Just take a piece of paper and jot down. You can go back over the video and take a look. Don't look ahead yet, okay? So pause if you need to. Now I'll give you my answers. Welcome back after your short pause. Now I'll give you my answers, and these are not right or wrong answers, but I think they'll point you in the right direction. The features include, it's a free website. You just have to provide your details, a few details about your company. The hosting is included. We do everything for you, and you actually get onto all these search platforms. Now, these are features, but features don't sell the product unless they're clearly connected to benefits. Yeah, that may sound obvious, but it requires practice. So the benefits include, in you and I's case, to get discovered. I want to get discovered. I want to be on billboards. I want to be on TV. I want to be on the internet. I want to be noticed. I want to be on social media. Why? Because it gets discovered. I can't get customers without being discovered. And so being discovered leads to more customers. These are needs and these are benefits. Convenience. Well, one of the things that scares me about anybody who offers me a free website is the hassle that's involved, because I know that once I set it up, I'm going to get confused, I'll get lost, I'll have to maintain it, I'll have to change the content, it won't work, there'll be security issues, I don't know how to get paid on the website, and so on and so forth. So it's not just setting up the website, I'm actually worried about these free websites. And so the fact that it's anxiety-free, I can be anxiety-free, is also a benefit. And that it happens fast, because you know what? I don't need customers in 3 months, because in 3 months I'll be out of business. I need customers in 3 days. So these are the differences between features and benefits. So let me give you a few takeaways from selling building blocks. These segments, we're not going in these video segments into everything on this particular topic. I'm just picking out a few of the important high priority items. So this should not surprise you by now. Presenting means addressing customer benefits. How does it impact the customer? The anti-pitch, it's interesting. Today, if you go and apply for a sales job in most companies, a lot of them will come and say in the first interview, they think they're very clever. They'll say, study our website and come in and give us a pitch, as if you were selling our product to us. And I tell people, this is ridiculous, because that's not how you sell. You don't sell by going in and telling about your product. You sell by going in and listening about your customers' needs, because that's what's important. Not what you do, it's what they want. So the best sales presentations start with questions. In general, the best presentations, if you have an audience, a live audience, is to start with questions. Underrated, asking questions. And then, of course, learn how and when to get the order. It's not, you have to close. And then the sale is not over until you get paid, and then it's still not over. So part of the salesperson's, or the person who's responsible for selling, part of their obligation is to make sure that that money goes into the accounts and not to leave it up to the CFO. That's partly a sales skill issue, but that's partly an organizational issue. Our next video segment will take us into quick wins. How do you get quick wins on that customer C? See you soon.